Hello and welcome to today's coverage of the World Para-Alpine Skiing World Cup. We're here in Zagreb, the resort of Sljeme, just a 20-minute drive from Croatia's capital, situated on the peak ridge and north slopes of the Medvednica mountain. My name's Alan March, I'm the commentator taking you all the way through the action, not only here in Zagreb but the previous events as well. We'll be heading off to Slovenia, Switzerland, France and of course Canada to finish up. That's the start of the course that these athletes will tackle in a few moments' time. We're up as high as the TV tower that towers above the city of Zagreb, even high as above the clouds. The temperatures here quite warm, to be fair, around about 10 degrees at its best. Man-made snow is called for. There you can see you're up above the clouds, which puts us at the Creveni Spust course, some 920 metres above sea level, a drop of 200 metres on the course today. They've got to tackle 61 gates as quick as they can if they're going to be crowned World Cup champion here at this event at least. So sit back, be uplifted, and we'll start the coverage with the women's visually impaired event. Just 3 athletes taking part here. A first chance to see Korea's Yang Jae-rim as well. She didn't compete in Kotai, but 2 winners from the events over in Austria for Cassava and Parine are indeed on show. A few people gathering to take in the action around about the course. Some last minute preparations for some of the athletes. People getting themselves familiar with the start sheets and the athletes coming down. The 4 runners are out on the course, just making sure that everything is as it should be. Remember, this is 2 slalom events over the course of these 2 days, 2 runs on each day. And with slalom happening in Verts in Switzerland, there's 2 events there, and then just the singular event at the World Cup final, of course. A good chance to stake a claim for the title on the slalom. So make your phone calls, tell your friends to watch. And if you want to follow us, don't forget, at Para-Alpine is the place you need to go to. You can also go to Paralympic.org, look for the winter sports section on there, and all the information you need. You can get involved with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, follow us on our Snapchat stories as well. And we'll take you through the course of the action. Just 2 quick days here in Zagreb before we head off to Kranjska Gora in Slovenia. Verts in Switzerland is next on the schedule after that. Team in France brings us to the end of January before February's action resumes in Kimberley in Canada, those World Cup finals. And of course everybody's minds will be firmly set on PyeongChang as well. A chance to represent your country. The Winter Paralympic Games. And of course a real chance to stake a claim and show everybody that you mean business. That's something that these ladies here have already done in the opening event in Kotai. Natalia Subatova has been guiding Henrietta for Cassava to great success. The 3 victories out of 4 over in Kotai. These 2 have got matching boots off the piste as well. They we were talking to Natalia and Henrietta about those off camera And Natalia Subatova, the guide, was explaining that they're the most comfortable boots she's ever worn. So the pair of them have a pair, and they have a lot of gold medals between them as well. So we kickstart our action then. The first to come down is Henrietta Cassava of Slovakia, and this lady is 31 years of age and no stranger to your screens if you're an avid watcher of para-alpine skiing. Here's the lady that's taken gold medals at the last two Winter Games, both Canada and of course Sochi as well. And for Cassava will be setting the benchmark time for the other two ladies to follow, as you say, Melissa Perrine to come after this. And a first look of the series for Yang Jae-rim, having not appeared in Kutai. Impossible is nothing, says Cassava, as she comes towards the finish line. We'll wait for the official times. Cassava and Subatova embrace. This is Melissa Perrine of Australia then. Oh, and Perrine has gone down. Long dark hair flowing out of the back of her helmet, and the guide just having to slow down. Christian Geiger, guides and the visually impaired athletes communicating through microphones in their helmets, and that is going to be a slow one for Melissa Perrine. So Cassava's time 58.85, sorry. Melissa Perrine's time 104.76. So some 5.91 seconds back. And slight delay before we have Yang Jae-rim, who you can see Perrine with that slip stayed on course, and that 104.76 leaving her behind at the moment. A 28-year-old from Seoul up next. She spent 10 months on the sidelines after an incident where she fractured her right shin bone in 2006 at the World Cup event in Tarvisio. Spent a fair amount of time away from the action. Born partially sighted in her right eye and eventually lost the sight in her left as well. So here's the lady that debuted some 6 years ago in 2011.
Okay, start ready.
And you see the bottom of the hill.
Ready?
Waiting for the athletes to come down, and these ladies told they can go. So didn't see Yang Jae-rim in action in Kutai. A chance for us to see how her training has been going. A fourth place in Sochi in 2014. So just missing out on a medal last time around in the Winter Paralympic year. And this cycle should be looking to improve on that. Often comes close as well. Fifth place finishes in slalom events at the World Championships, including Treviso at the back end of last season. So can the Korean find a time that's close enough to Cassava? The guide is Koon Sori. You can just see Koon Sori taking a few looks behind, and these two dipping towards the line. It's around about 102. I'll bring you that time in a couple of seconds. 104.76 was Perrine's time, and Yang Jae-rim is inside that, 103.71. So Rim goes into second, but Cassava, the only lady inside 60 seconds, and comfortably so as well, 58.85. So next, the women's standing event. We should have Spain's Ursula Pieo Marimon first. A 33-year-old from Palma de Mallorca. And that's the way down if you don't need to ski. And you see the athletes from the women's visually impaired event down at the bottom, just taking a look at the times on the screen. See a little bit more of the course that the athletes have to tackle. So Marimon will indeed be the first to go in the women's standing event. Smazava Persian Bochet. So fourth out of the gate will be the lady that was dominant in Kutai in the women's standing event. Is there any stopping Marie Bochet of France this time out here in Zagreb? So again, don't forget you can follow us by using the @Paralpine handle on Twitter and of course Instagram and Snapchat. You can follow us on there as well. Get on the Facebook page, lots of exclusive content The official results for the women's visually impaired first run, and for Cassava, as she finished in Qatar, very dominant form indeed. Less than 60 seconds to make her way down this 61 gate course. She will lead going into the second run underneath the floodlights a little bit later on as it darkens here in Zagreb-Sljeme. Even without snow, the Zagreb-Sljeme resort is a major tourist destination here in Croatia. Got a medieval fortress not far away. Goes back to the 13th century and offers some of the best views of Zagreb around. Home of the able-bodied skiing World Cup just last week as well. We maybe you've caught the interview with Dino Sokolovic of Croatia, who talked about the pride that the Croatians have that they're able to follow on exactly the same course as the AB guys. So this is Ursula Marimont of Spain getting underway then, 33-year-old. The right leg amputee above the knee through an involvement in a motorcycle accident. Again, looking to compete at her third Winter Games. Here she'll just be looking to set the fastest time for everybody else to chase. 11 ladies involved in this standing event. On carving her way through the course, a few wild slides there, one, and yep, just one too many in the end. She's theoretically still on the course here. She hasn't missed any of the gates, so she's trying to get herself back, and she has done there, but this is the next tricky one, is to regain the pace. It's a 200-meter drop, quite a steep course, and Marimon so close to the finish there, 1:25.69. So next up, this is Petra Smazova, who DNF'd in the first slalom event in Qatar, but and came up with a 4th place run in the second event. Lady with the pink ski helmet, long hair trailing behind. And the athlete from Slovakia, can she emulate for Cassava from the visually impaired category a few moments ago? So Smazova, only the use of the pole in the right hand, the luminous screen. Goes well with the pink helmet, don't you find? Smazova. 27-year-old comes across the line in 1:04.86 and 20 seconds clear of Marimon. So she gets herself at the top of the board for now. Now 18-year-old Frédéric Turgeon of Canada didn't compete over in Qatar, but very much here competing in Zagreb. Took part in the World Cup final last year for Canada. Got an 8th place finish in the downhill. DNF'd in the Super G Giant Slalom and Slalom events, so this will be a good test to see how she's advancing as an athlete. impairment from birth. The right leg. Crossing the line, 105, and then taking a rather soft tumble as well. So just outside the time set by Smazova. And this is the acid test, I suppose. Marie Bochet. You can see wearing the red bib. That defines that you are the leader of the event in total. So the slalom leaderboard led by this lady, as is everything else, to be fair. 4 victories in Qatar. And Bochet, just the use of the right hand. A 23-year-old born in Chambéry, which is the closest airport to Tignes if you're planning on going out to spectate. And Bochet well inside the time from Smazova, and she's inside 60 seconds as well. So 59.89. It's a good run from Marie Bochet. So Varvara Voronchikina, one of our neutral para athletes. 3 of those, sorry, in this event. And Varvara is just 15 years of age, so making a international debut of serious note. Born with that without a part of her left hand, so only the use of the right as she comes to the line. 102.67. That's second position, and a few of the ladies are coming to a bit of a unceremonious halt at the bottom. Now Mel Pemble, another of the Canadians we didn't see if you followed the coverage in Qatar. And Mel just 17, skiing since she was 7, so a decade on skis for the lady who lives in Victoria, British Columbia. Also been quite proficient in paracycling as well as Pemble, so a fit young lady. Maybe still testing out where her true abilities lie, but she's not going badly here into the final section then. She's going to be outside of Bochet's time, but there's no shame in that, none whatsoever. And Pemble will look to pick up the pace during her second run. She finishes the first and makes it safely to the bottom of a 1:11.36 for the 17-year-old. Leaves her with work to do. Now Melania Corradini of Italy, 7th in the first slalom run in Austria, DNF in the second run of the second competition out there in Qatar. So the 30-year-old inside a top 10 finish once, with just 11 athletes here. She'll desperately want better than that on each occasion. Corradini, just the use of her right arm, the lady from Pasullo. Making her way through the poles. Already over 60 seconds, so Corradini just a little lacking in pace so far on the course. And she's going to be behind Pemble, it would seem here. Corradini 1:13.66. Papulova. What about neutral athletes? Papulova with a third place finish in the second slalom event in Qatar. Can she build on that? Would have been disappointed with that DNF from the first event. So, 35-year-old. Pushing on. Quicker than the last couple of ladies through this section, but again, already approaching that minute mark, which means that she's outside of Boucher's time. Papulova 1:05.72. That will leave her just outside of the top three. In fact, it leaves her in fifth altogether. She's behind Terzian. So Elena Kratter of Switzerland on course next. A 21-year-old from St. Gallen in Switzerland. Physical therapist in her day-to-day life. A keen sailor. Just two more athletes to come after Kratter. There's a lady that debuted in Austria and, well, getting across the line is the aim of the game. It doesn't matter if you're sliding either. 1:12.03. And Elena Kratter completes her run. Anastasia Kohorosheva. Anastasia is making her bout in this World Cup series as well. No appearance to date. Years of age from Moscow. Very tall is Kohorosheva. Another that's often pushing on the door of podium places and top places, but failed to do so just yet. Competed in Sochi. We'll be looking for a return in a second games for herself. 1:12.73 is a time that she'll really want to improve on, and this first run of the first day, first look at the course for many of these athletes. Now Ilma Kazazic. What, 12th and 9th? So a torrid time in Televisio. And openly admits herself it's just all about improving. And she was so proud to have competed at the Paralympic Winter Games, representing her country. lady from Sarajevo. First ever female to represent Bosnia and Herzegovina at the Paralympic Winter Games. Competed in giant slalom there. This one just slalom, of course. Already well outside of those times, but again, as we often point out to some of the youngsters, or maybe the newer starters, it's often about self-improvements rather than pushing for the medal places just yet. 1:23.17, and Kazazic makes it down comfortably again. Kazazic used to be coached by Senad Turkovic, who sadly passed away a little while ago. Himself had competed in Sochi. So Boucher, brilliant as ever, 59.89. Similarly to for Cassava, just one athlete inside 60 seconds in this category as well. Women's sitting event coming up. Just two athletes involved in the women's sitting event. But we are blessed to have the very brilliant Claudia Loesch with us. 29-year-old was super in the giant slalom events in Kutai, but had a few struggles on the last 2 days. There's Kazazic having a few handshakes and pictures, and people chatting away to her at the foot of the run. So up at the top, as we say, the women's sitting event is up next. The lady that lives in Innsbruck is Claudia Loesch, beaten on both occasions by Germany's Anna-Lena Forster and Anna Schaffelhuber. But this time out, should she get to the bottom, she'll pick up some good slalom points, and really having to work to drive that ski, that mono ski, into the corners. And it's probably more about making sure you get down to the bottom with only two ladies taking part here. Stephanie Victor of Switzerland had two DNFs in her very first run in Kutai, so the one thing she needs to work on here is making sure she makes it to the bottom. But Loesch, huge tennis fan. Of Roger Federer and Agassi. Here's a lady that missed most of the 2015-16 season with a broken left femur. Actually happened in a car accident in December of 2015, so she's just happy to be back competing at full tilt, as it appeared she was in Kutai, and here in Zagreb she's come down in a 1:03.30. A few hairy slides out on the course at times, but Loesch done enough to make it to the bottom. So this is Stephanie Victor. As I mentioned earlier, it was failed to finish on both occasions in the slalom events of the last World Cup in Austria. And Victor, this time out, only needs to get to the bottom each occasion to pick up some decent points in the slalom event. On many occasions. Victor and Walsh meet at the bottom. Some 6.5 seconds between them, but they know all about each other. Victor representing Switzerland here. Quite a hefty crash during the women's Super G in Sochi, did Victor. Had to be airlifted off the slopes and actually came away with some facial injuries and amongst other things, and it ruled her out for the rest of that competition. Now, men's visually impaired event is up next. 13 gentlemen tackling the course. It's Peter Christoph, or Christoph Peter Gemeine, should I say. There's the guide for Gunnar Morgenfurt. Morgenfurt will be the first of our men's VI athletes to come down. Morgenfurt, who came up with 2 5th-place finishes on a debut in his home country as well. And here's a man that's already 52 years of age, but is starting off a career in VI Para-Alpine skiing. Those 2 5th places can only be worked on, can only be improved on. Morgenfurt a man who's an author as well. He released a book titled How to Improve My Handicap, a guide intended to help people living with an impairment. So here he's trying to improve his times, and 59.01, so inside 60 seconds straight away for the Austrian. Giacomo Bertragnoli, guide Fabrizio Casal. That time of Morgenfurt, the One to beat for everybody now. Nobody's having too many serious issues at the moment. So 55.98 for Bertagnoli. He's ahead by over 3 seconds already. So well done to he and Fabrizio Cassava, his guide. They've put themselves in front for now. Next up is Miroslav Hreos of Slovakia. And, along with Cassava, the Slovakians have a strong VI teams. Hreos and Maros Hudik, who is his guide, working their way through the course quite neatly already here. You see strong, quick turns from Miroslav, 31-year-old. Took victory in the first slalom event in Austria, but a DNF surprise in the second event on the first run as well. Bit of a slide there, but he's going to be inside the time. 54.55 from Miroslav Hreos of Slovakia, and that should put him inside the time of Bertagnoli. Confirm that in a couple of moments. So next up, Valeria Kozhubov. His guide is Yevgeny Geroyev. Kozhubov, 45 years of age, not exactly the oldest swinger in town. But, he and Yevgeny Geroyev looking at competing in a third Winter Games. That time there on your screen from Hreos, 54.56. He's not far outside, just 0.27 the difference between the Slovakian and the neutral para-athlete. So Kozhubov is close. Marek Kubacka, also from Slovakia, up next, a 9th place finish for Kubacka, who's the athlete with the most severe impairment. He's classified as a B1 skier. Which means he has the least visual acuity within all of the athletes taking part. Guided as always by Anna Ogazinska. You'll see the noticeable pace slowing. Oh, a little bit of a mess with those two gates there, and that might be our first DNF. It is. Kubacka goes. Just got caught up in those two gates, and that is the tight section of the course. And Marek Kubacka of Slovakia goes out of the competition. You see just there, just straddled both the gates and instantaneously knew he was gone. So the post-mortem between the two of them. But it is out for the Slovakian. And in comes Poland's Maciej Krzel. So Krzel, who's pretty quick through the opening section of the course. The man from Katowice, along with guide Branislav Brosman. Brosman, sorry, with Krakow up next, should I say. Guide Anna just leading Krzel down. 6th place and a DNF for his 2 days work in slalom in Katai. 26-year-old here, looking to get more points on the board in this slalom event. He'll be inside a minute again. 58.75 is the time given. Races for the start team in Katowice. So they'll have to wait and see where that leaves them at the end of the event. Currently sitting in 4th position ahead of Gernot Morgenfurt. This is Jakub Krakow. His guide is indeed Branislav Brosman, the 3rd of the Slovakian athletes to go here in the men's event. A 27-year-old from Zlenia. And up to the 40-second mark. He needs to be somewhere around 55 seconds to affect the top of the standings at the moment. 2nd in the first slalom event in Katai. As he comes across the line, 55.52 for the Super G gold medal winner from Sochi. Slalom winner in 2010. But here, having to settle for 3rd place at the moment, Ivan Frantsev. His sister also competes on the circuit, not here on day 1 in Croatia. So Frantsev making his way through the gates. 26-year-old. His guide is Denis Pedovoschinov. Let's have one of our B2 classified athletes. Enjoyed winning the bronze in slalom and the super combined. Got a gold in the slalom and bronze in the super combined in the World Cup event in Spain a few years back. He's a little off the pace in this one. So Frantsev, who was 3rd and 4th in the 2 events in Katai, which gave him the leader's jersey, finds himself down in 5th here, so that may well change quite dramatically by the time we get round to the next run. Oh, and Sean Pianta has lost his ski, lost his balance, and lost his place on the board as Pianta emulates what he did in the first slalom event in Katai. He is out. Well, 28-year-old just coming into that left-hander. He's just got his left ski the wrong side of the gate, and that's caused the carnage. And Pianta will make his way down a little bit later on once we've had the rest of the VI athletes. So Patrick Jensen now. So witnessed his fellow Australian go out. Jensen with guide Christian Geiger. They make their way down. 21-year-old from Newcastle. Eighth place in that first slalom event a couple of weeks back in Austria. So massage therapist by day. So 54, 56 has gone. It's all about a race against the clock now for Jensen, and just improving on his abilities, and well, competed at the World Champs. That was his first time out. He's got a couple of World Cup events now under his belt. And Patrick Jensen makes it to the bottom. Jensen's time 106.78. This is Huang Mingyu. Year-old guide Koon Sori, who's guiding down the Korean. He's also competed in para-athletics as well. His ambition isn't just to compete in PyeongChang. He wants a gold medal. So setting his stall out. Not just about getting there for Huang. He wants a medal. He's not going to get top of the podium in this event here. He's some way behind Miroslav Haraus. Came 10th of the slalom event of the World Cup final last year. And well, he's some 10 seconds back in 8th position this time out as well. Now, Damir Mizrak, the first Croatian to compete on home snow here at this event. Luka Debeljak, his guide. Mizrak was 10th and 6th respectively, finished all of his runs in the slalom event. I used to have a few conversations with Damir, and actually finished all of his runs. He wasn't necessarily the happiest bunny, but it's all about improvement for him. He goes past the Haraus marker of 54. And the 26-year-old comes into the final section. Will cross the line 106.90. That puts him in last place at the moment. But unlike Kabatsko and Pianta, he has made it down. And As we mentioned a little bit earlier on, that piece with his compatriot Dino Sokolovic. You can see that interview on the Alpine social media channels. The proud Croatian talking about what it means to be competing here. And the second of our B1 athletes, this is Sol Baloch of Hungary. "35 years of age, originally from Tata in Hungary. His guide is Bence Boxy. So, Boxy guiding down Baloch. Again, the factor time of 58%. That means that the clock at the bottom right of your screen is not running as a normal stopwatch perhaps would. All of the athletes have a factored time. But the clock is manipulated to take into consideration their impairment. You may just about be able to hear some of the noises from the guide. You sometimes pick those up depending on how loud the guide is on the course. You can sometimes hear that through the ambient. Oh, and Baloch so close to the finish. Not sure whether he's going to be able to get back into the course. He's going to finish, so we'll worry about whether he went out of the gate a little bit later on, but Baloch will go down here as well at the finish. 1:16.28. But Zsolt Baloch completes his course. Well, he has taken part in a couple of world championships as Baloch in his time. A 9th and a 7th in giant slalom and slalom respectively in Valencia, aiming maybe for a place in PyeongChang. That time of 1:16.28 means that no effect was had on the leaderboard. Miroslav Hadeos 54.56. Koshubov, one of the neutral para athletes, 54.83, and Jakub Krako makes a Slovakian sandwich, 55.52. Men's standing event coming up. So the men's standing event next. We'll start off with Martin Verts of Austria. Eighth place finish for Martin in the first of the slalom events in his home nation. He then crashed out in the second run of the second event. So, 24-year-old from Weidhofen. You see the lights have started to come on and illuminate parts of the course. The sun starting to fade, but not on Martin Verts. 55.45. So Verts set to the time. Theo Guimot of Switzerland. We had a couple of DNF performances in Austria. 21-year-old. Cerebral palsy. Silver medalist at the World Championships in the giant slalom, was a DNF in the slalom event itself over there in Televisio, and similar joy in the World Cup final, 4th place finish there. And we'll just wait for Theo's time to come through. 57.38 being shown, so slower than Verts for now. Second run becomes all more important. So Thomas Thiel of Switzerland next, following on from Theo Riemer. Turned 31 on the 1st of January. Belated happy birthday to Thomas. Can he pick himself up a late present here in the January sales, perhaps? Over the line goes. 55.45 from Verts. And Field comes up a little short, 56.23. So close, but not quite. And, 2 Austrians and 2 Swiss athletes to get us started. This is the second of the Austrians. Is Thomas Grocher, who's slightly out at the split time. Grocher, a single leg skier from Klagenfurt in Austria, crossing the line in 54.73, so we have a new leader, 0.72 ahead. Looking to find form, heading maybe to a second Winter Games. Now, this is Alexei Bugayev, who was very quick in Austria, first in the first slalom event, was disqualified from the second. And Bugayev just struggling here, gets himself set again because he hasn't missed a gate, but certainly into a patch where he pretty much stopped. So Alexei Bugayev will not come inside 54.73, but he knew he was going quick, because he's still inside less than 4 seconds from Thomas Grocha. So Alexei Bagayev struggling on part of the course, and the 20-year-old had his wits about him to just get on with it. We'll see here, just got himself a little sideways, and well, knew he had to come back inside that gate. We'll see if that stands a little bit later on. I wonder if there'll be a review of that. But Bagayev, the slowest of the first 5 so far. 3.42 seconds the difference. Santeri Kivari of Finland now. "17-year-old from Lapinranta coming across the line in 56.63. Nerve damage in the right shoulder. Means he only uses his left arm during competition. And, this is Thomas Walsh, bib number 36. "22-year-old flying down here. Actually made his international debut in our next venue, which is Kranjska Gora in Slovenia. Claimed that first World Cup victory in Samarit in January of 2016. He's going well here. He's inside the time. 53.70 for Thomas Walsh. The man who lives in Vale. Puts himself in front. Giant Slalom World Cup winner from 2016. Doing well at the slalom here in Zagreb. Jordan Brossan, 24-year-old from France. Eighth place finish in the downhill. Disqualified from the slalom event in Televisio at the World Championships. Oh, sorry, in the World Cup event. It was actually a 14th place finish, which he was disappointed with in the slalom event in Televisio. He was 18th in the first event in Qatar, and Brossan has got work to do. (59.56) with the slowest time out on the course so far this afternoon. Martin France up next. Thirty-three-year-old Slovakian. France unable to use a pole in either hand. Debuted back in 2004, and he'll come across here in a 59.76. So again, you see the factored time, 83.47%. That's a little wave to some of the people at the bottom of the hill. Next up should be James Stanton. Jamie Stanton, who is trying to get back up to the gate he's missed here. And he's done so. You can see from the body language the disappointment having missed it. So Stanton trying to chase down the time of Thomas Walsh. 53.71. It's a little erratic from James Stanton. Well outside of the 53 seconds as he comes into the final phase. Through the line he goes, 106.68. And there's a little smile on the face that says, I knew that wasn't going to be quick in the end. Chauncey O'Callaghan next up for Australia. 20-year-old, originally born in London. Born with a mild paralysis on the right side of his body. Competed at the World Championships last year. So now O'Callaghan looking to improve maybe on those results. An 18th in the giant slalom, a DNF in the slalom event there. He had 2 DNFs in Austria as well. So failed attempts. Well, he's trying to eradicate, and he's going to do so with his first run here, crossing the line in 60.37. Some 6.66 seconds behind for O'Callaghan at the moment. Arthur Balchet, third place in the first of the slalom events, and a real talent that France have. Just 17 years of age, 2 golds, 2 silvers at the World Cup final event, double gold winner at the World Championships in Italy over a year, just under a year ago. Certainly got the speed and the ability. Can he compete here with this time? 53.71, a little slide just there. And it's going to be tight. 54.66 it's given, so less than a second behind. 54.66 means that Balchet will go second, 0.95 the difference. Great Britain's James Whitley next. Recently named in the Paralympics GB team. 20 years of age. Podiumed at international events before in Italy and France and Austria in 2012, 2013. And Whitley pushing on 58.93. Born with his impairments, unable to use ski poles in his run, but Whitley comes up with a time that puts him currently in 9th position. So this is Alexander Alyabayev. Only able to use the pole in the left hand. 4th and a 2nd for him in the 2 slalom events in Qatar. So 28-year-old from Dimitrov in Russia. He's in and around, and he's going to be in and around again. 55.61. A little shake of the head suggests that Well, the shake of the head told me once, but the dismissal of the goggles tells me he really wasn't happy with a part of that. So Aljubayev goes 5th, 1.9 seconds back from Thomas Walsh, who continues to lead. Now Mitchell Gawley, 5th place finish in the second slalom event, but actually his second run that day was faster than anyone else's. He was just too far behind from the first run. A 26-year-old gold of the Super Combined, the World Championships. Recently re-elected, 2 more years of being the athlete representative for the APC, for Alpine Skiing Sports Technical Committee. Something that he's very proud and honoured to be a part of, and he's, well, he'll be proud of that, but he's managed to keep his balance over the final few gates. Mitchell Gawley there, 3.96 seconds back. And there's no smile from Gawley at the bottom, which would suggest that he too thinks that something went awry on the course for him. Now Jasper Belkiaut, double DNFs in Kutai. Again, another of those athletes that falls into the category of making improvements for himself. Not yet ready to affect leaderboards. 12th place finish in the slalom world champs back in 2013, and he actually came in exactly the same position in 15 and in 2012, so 2017 as well. So 12th position, some of his best work at world championship level. Belkiaut making his way through here. What's a top 5 finish at a World Championships, he says. That would be the dream to him. Competing since 2005, the 25-year-old comes to the line, 103.17 for Belkiaut. Now, this is Robin Kusch up next. Kusch chasing the time of 23.47 at the first split, and he looks like being well outside of that. "19-year-old just getting his way into the bottom half now. Under the floodlights, a few of them already on. And Kusch coming through in 59.70. That puts Robin Kusch in 13th position. Born with hemiplegia, which affects his right leg. Robin Kusch. This should be Michael Brugge, who's making his World Cup bow here. 35-year-old. Didn't see him in Kutai, but we are seeing him here in Zagreb. Vastly experienced, competing as far back as 1998's Winter Games. Medalled in the giant slalom that time out. He's got a 58.23 here. So Michael Brugge, experienced Swiss skier, goes into 11th position with that time. Now Julian Ernst, (34-year-old), lives in Egerstande, which is near St. Gallen in Switzerland. Ernst pushing on. 59.60. In fact, comes up to 60.08 in the end. Well, making his international circuit debut this time around. Davide Bendotti of Italy. At a high level of DNFs in Kutai. Bendotti was not one of those, but we've had very few here so far in Zagreb, so these guys adapting to the course much better this time around. Bendotti is 21st and 19th in his two Kutai outings, and the 23-year-old will make it to the bottom again here. 101.32 for the Italian. Now Alexei Mikushin, a neutral para-athlete. 19 years of age. Another that's starting to make his appearances on the international circuit this season. National gold winner in his home country of Russia back in 2015. Actually suffered his injury during skiing when he was younger. Crossing the line here, 101.41. That's going to leave him around about 18th place. Alexei Mikushin. Oh, Hilmar Olvarsson joins the DNF club. He slides down into the soft stuff on the right-hand side of the course, and Olvarsson is out already. Just see clipping the gate and just unable to shift that body weight to make the turn. So Olvarsson goes. Finished both slalom events in Kutai, so he'll be disappointed with that. We should have one more up the top. It's Andy Barlow of Great Britain. The 31-year-old from Bolton. Joined the British Army back in 2003. Andy, injured while serving in Afghanistan. And these are his first forays into international skiing. There are still some slots for the British skiers on the team. Some people have missed out. Some have been named. There are a few other slots that they may choose to use as well, so maybe people like Andy Barlow can show enough to those selecting. He's deserving of a chance, and Barlow sliding down here, and he's going to try, I think, and make it back up if he can. And no, he's realised he's too far gone, and Barlow hitting the ground and out in the first round goes the Brit. So a DNF, in fact 2 to finish the event. The men standing, and that takes us into the final first run of this afternoon's session. You can see the results scrolling through. 23 men taking part in the event, and the final 2 coming through. Barlow and Orvassen with the DNFs, and you see Whitley and Barlow having a chat as we ready ourselves. You can just see here, just gets himself too wide, and then it slides away from underneath him, and well, he actually ended up getting back up and thinking about trying to climb up. So next up will be the men's sitting event. Tyler Walker will get us going for the United States. So the sitting event, use of the mono ski for these athletes. Completely different to the opening 2 sections. And first up, Tyler Walker of the US, who is very much a leave it all out there on the course type of skier. Every ounce of effort he's got goes in, and you can always tell. A funky coloured helmet for Tyler, 31-year-old now. New Hampshire. Trying to keep the speed going through that section there, and then these sharp turns, and you see how much abuse the bottom of that mono ski gets, and susceptible to damage. So they have to be thrown around the course at some speed. And Walker, one of the best at doing just that. Aiming for a 3rd Winter Games appearance, and Walker in 55.47 sets the first time. Murat Pelli of Switzerland will be next. "25-year-old from Mendrisio." You see the lights coming on now in various parts of the course. Pelli got a 9th place finish in the second of the slalom events out in Austria. Just struggling to keep the pace going as well as making the turns at the moment. Coached by Alf Jegler, and Pelli hits the deck, but I don't think he's out of sync with the gates here, so he'll attempt to continue, which is sensible work. The sitting event is always susceptible to the most amount of DNF, so it's always worthwhile getting to the bottom. But Pele here missing out on another gate and decides that enough is enough for his first day's work here in Zagreb. That's the initial fall, just taking a hard bump to the bottom right edge of the ski and darting off to his left, and a little bit later on just getting a little wide for one of the gates, and he knew himself that he couldn't correct that, so Tyler Walker stays at the top for now with Markus Vatterhofer of Austria coming up. Vatterhofer has a factored time of 70.08. The Austrian, 26 years old. Bronze medal winner at the World Championships in the giant slalom. DNF in the World Champs at this event. Also failed to finish on both occasions in Austria a few weeks back in those slalom events as well. So Marcus will be looking for a course completion first and foremost. Through the slow section he continues. He saw Walker go through that section with ease as well. So Vatterhofer staying firm, almost glued to the circuit as he needs to be. The keen guitar player and wakeboarder in his spare time as well. So Vatterhofer very much trying to stay in tune with the course. He's going to be outside of Walker's time, but he crosses the line indeed in 60.71. He's got a time. That's the important part. Now, here is the competition leader at the moment. This is the very much homegrown Dino Sokolovic, who struggled in the opening couple of days, broke his mono ski. He went off to have it fixed and came back and got a third and a first, so something really was wrong. But when he got back on the course, much to his and wife Barbara's delight, he was flying down. He's doing exactly that here. Sokolovic picking up where he left off in Katai and absolutely throwing this mono ski around. Into the bottom section then. Sokolovic looking for 55.47. Just a few gates to go. It's going to be close. 54.23. 1.24 seconds quicker. And the man from Zagreb leads the competition. Now, Han Sang-min, first time out for him during this competition. "38-year-old from Seoul. Second place in the giant slalom back in the 2002 Winter Games. Hasn't managed to emulate that ever since. I got a fifth place back in the 2009 World Championship, so he's outside of Sokolovic's time already, and just a few hefty bounces off the hard parts of the course. So he won't affect the scoreboard. all the standings. This is Josh Elliott of the United States now. 36-year-old from San Diego. I'm sure wife Samantha watching on. Can he come near to compatriot Tyler Walker? Second place in the giant slalom in the World Cup back in 2016. A couple of failed attempts to finish in Qatar, so another that will be looking just to register something at the bottom this time around. He's fairly quick. Oh, what a slide here. I'm not sure he's missed the gate. If he can correct it, he's not going to. Oh, Josh Elliott. You can see the frustration. Just 3 or 4 gates from the end, and Elliott is furious with himself. Just take another look at it here. It's this right-hander. He just gets too low into the corner. Tries to take it far too tight. Loses the ground from beneath him. And out goes the American, Johan Taboulet, who's already struggling. Just getting a bit wide. That'll be frustrating for Taboulet. Got a couple of failed finishes in Qatar as well. And the 36-year-old from Mosin, 2 and a bit seconds back from Tyler Walker's first half of the course, so Frenchman got work to do. Taboulet was a keen skier. Gave up the sport in 2001. But, here he is back competing at a good level as well. 58.68. It's third place for Taboulet. So there's the benefit of making sure you get to the bottom. Now, fellow Frenchman Frédéric Francois up next. 6th and a 5th in Qatar. And the 40-year-old would love to come up with something a little bit more than that. 2 5th place finishes in Sochi at the Super G and the Giant Slalom. He's picked up a few medals over the years at World Championship level. Admittedly, none of those in slalom. This is a test for him. But Frédéric Francois pushing himself here at the Sljeme Resort in Zagreb. You just see shades of sunlight coming through various parts of the course as Francois crosses the line and he goes above his compatriot Taboulet into 3rd position. Can anybody catch Dino Sokolovic? So first look of the World Cup for Lee Chi-won, and he goes down. It looks like he's trying to get back on here. He's not necessarily missed the gate. That's the thing to be wary of, and he's indeed going to go around the outside of that, which means he can carry on. Now, getting to the bottom has its advantages. Plenty of people fail to finish on a mono ski, so registering a time is always worth it, and that is exactly what Lee Chi-won is trying to do now, getting a little bit wide there. This is a sort of section where you really need to be gaining some pace and thinking about the final drop towards the finish line. So it's going to be well outside of a time that threatens. We know that. Oh, and another slide this time around. Into the final drop he comes then. Another big dig into the surface, and that will slow you down every time. And through the line he comes then, some 19 or so seconds the difference. There's that big slide. But, well, he had the desire and commitment to get back on. Now, here was a young man who was dominant in the opening couple of days in Kutai, and then had a couple of sticky patches later on. He won the first slalom event, but was third in the second event, and really seemed to struggle with the course laid out in front of him. But Jesper Pedersen, just 18 from Bergen in Norway. Now chasing down on some more slalom success. I think this is going to be a real interesting battle between the likes of Sokolovic and Pedersen for the entire season, but he's slow through here, 57.60, and you can add Tyler Walker to that mix, of course. Going to make an interesting World Cup battle all the way through, and well, he was forever smiling in the opening few days, was Jesper Pedersen. Not so much here. Sokolovic leads the way. Pedersen's time enough for third position. This is René Di Silvestro. Italian. Staying on course, just slowed dramatically there. 21-year-old. He's in San Vito. And this is his attempt at coming somewhere near that 54. He's going to be coming up to it right about now. He's in the lower part of the course, aiming to reach a first Winter Games. 3.76 seconds back. That only leaves him in fifth position, so he's in between Francois and Taboulet. So this is Mark Sawyer now. Sawyer just having a few battles of his own. Sawyer already 4.5 back. Walker was the fastest through that first section. Sawyer 39-year-old. Into the back half then. That final drop down. 54 is gone. 39-year-old. Just catching his arm there, and that's always a recipe for disaster, but he's managed to survive here, Mark Sawyer. 10.94 back on the leaders. Igor Sikorski. 4 more to come after the Polish athlete. A 27-year-old from Krakow. An active snowboarder before his accident, and was just desperate to return to racing in snow, and this gave him that chance. He said being back on the mountains is that first race was an amazing feeling, and that's very much a story you get from many of the mono skiers. Through the line he comes, 55.65. Well, second in Treviso at the slalom event in the World Championships. And that's a good time from Igor Sikorski of Poland. It puts him in third, but there's only 1.4 separating the top three. Now, Simon Valner. He failed to finish in the first run of both the slalom events and in Katai. So Valner will want something much better here. Valner pushing against the clock here. 54, sorry, is the very good time from Sokolovic so far. And the 30-year-old who will turn 31 before the Winter Games, whether he competes there or not. Valner will make it to the bottom. He's 8.77 seconds back. So this is Micha Wefler. Oh, just hitting a bump. Early doors here for Wefler. 23-year-old from Biel originally, lives in Reconviliere, and he's out, it would seem, of the running for a decent time at least. He's managed to keep himself within the posts, but certainly already a couple of hairy moments for Micha Wefler of Switzerland. The 23-year-old keeps on going. Debut World Cup series this. It was a DNF in the second run that curtailed his first slalom event in Katai. Went out on the very first run on the second day. So he's trying to stay on the course. And again, if you hang your arm out too long and you don't get it inside that gate and catch it at the right place, you can go. That is exactly what Wefler has done. So, left arm just being caught up in the gate pole, and that brings to an end Micha Wefler. Just here doesn't hit the pole high enough or get his left arm out of the way quick enough, and that leads to Wefler's acrimonious slide down the mountain. And we move on to Alex Cairns next. A first look at Cairns as well. He's jumping for the first time on the circuit this time around. I'm saying Canada here with a much different team. 25-year-old from Vancouver. Disqualified from the World Championship Slalom event back in 2015. Actually works on a ski resort anyway, so I'm sure he gets plenty of practice time. Ken's looking to maybe push for a place on the team. Heading out to PyeongChang. And across the line he goes. 102.30 for the only Canadian in this sitting event. And we move on to our last athlete then. This is Zagreb-Sljeme from Slovenia. So Zagreb be, I'm sure, looking forward to competing at Kranjska not far from here, to be fair, a few hours. That's the next destination on the circuit, of course. So, 17-year-old, a resident of Jasenice, still a student. Involved in a traffic accident. I was just 5 years of age. This is his World Cup debut. Through the line he comes. 106.54. So completing the course unscathed is Sljeme. And he gets a little high five at the bottom of the mountain as well. Well, the lights are on. But for now, our coverage will be going off. We'll return a little bit later on this evening for the second run and find out who we crown as champions of all 6 of our events. At the moment, Dino Sokolovic is by far the best sit skier. He continues the form that he showed in the last race in Katai, and he will be the man to beat in the sitting event here on home snow. That's it from the first run here in Zagreb. We'll see you a little bit later on.